Getting hacked sucks. I've been there once where I woke up one day and there was a big "you got hacked by" and it was the hacker's name, and there was music and everything, and it was bad. So today in this video, I'm going to talk about Wordfence, kind of give you the general oversight of some of the settings and just explain how the plugin actually works. Now, Wordfence is actually the #1 most recommended security plugin in the WordPress repository with more than 3 million active installs. Now, second place would be iThemes, but I'll have a second video on iThemes. Now, guys, security is the most important thing. I can't trust it enough because all of your hard work can get deleted like that by some guy who's just out to get you for no reason. You know, I've been there, and people try to hack my website all the time. It's just how it goes in WordPress. So today in this video, I'm actually going to go ahead and walk you through the Wordfence settings to just kind of give you the overview of it. Even talk about the pro version. Is it worth it or not? Well, I'll let you decide. So let's go over here to my demo website, flatsometutorial.com, where people have been trying to hack it, and I have proof. I have proof of it. So right here, you'll go to plugins and you'll go to add new, and you can just go ahead and install this plugin if you've never installed it. In fact, if I go to popular right here, it should actually pop up on the front page right here as far as security goes. So it looks like right here it's Wordfence, and again, this is the most trusted security plugin for WordPress. I think also because it offers the most, and there's one key feature about this plugin that other plugins offer in the pro version, but this one you can get it for free, and it's actually a pretty helpful feature. So once you install the plugin over here under Wordfence, you'll see your new dashboard. You'll have all these new options such as firewall, scan, etc. Now with this right here, you can go ahead and scan your entire website, and you can also manage the firewall, etc. They'll also talk about notifications. Now in this specific website, I scanned it, and there are some files that are potentially malware, and they're very commonplace in the WordPress. I guess you want to say there's certain files. I mean, you see those files, generally they're malware. So right here, I'll go ahead and check out the issues of the scan. Now, when you scan your website, it can take anywhere between a few minutes to even an hour. So mine took around 30 minutes once I scanned it. And they basically just give you little things to look at. So malware scan, file changes, password strengths, etc. So right here, they're saying WP feed is a critical issue, and this appears to be malicious. Now, WP feed, along with there's one more. It's like WP VHCD or something like that. It's usually known for being malware. So Wordfence has actually detected it and told me about it. So what I can do here is I can actually go ahead and delete the file and fix it. So that's really helpful because you're going to come across files that you're looking at saying, what is that file? And they're not your files, but these people out there, they put these files into your WordPress websites to get information. Maybe it's a keylogger, maybe it's something that doesn't belong and that you really need to get the hell out of your server. And also right here, they give you they talk about plugins that are no longer available. So here you can see that this plugin right here is no longer being supported. And this is very important because if there's a plugin that's no longer, that was removed and that's no longer supported, that plugin can have vulnerabilities because, again, it's no longer supported. So it can have a lot of vulnerabilities for people to hack in on the back end. And that happens to a lot of plugins. It happens to various social media plugins. It happened to manage WP. It happens to a lot of plugins. So getting rid of old plugins is essential. You need to get them out of there, especially if it's no longer being supported, because they can have a lot of vulnerabilities, and that leads to back-end ways to your website where people can hack and do all sorts of really annoying, stupid things. But here you can see that they're just saying this file type doesn't belong. This one right here is actually a malicious one as well. And what you can do here is just go ahead and just do a Google search saying, okay, I have this file right here. I might be using it. I'm not really sure. Maybe I should do a search on it on the internet and see what other users are saying. Now, this file right here and this file right here are known to be malicious. So I should probably delete these files. They're known in the community for being malicious, but then again, you might want to go ahead and check it out, etc. Here, it's just giving you other little notices saying that some of your subscribers have a very easy password. Maybe you want to go ahead and change it. And then these right here are just updates. These are just something that are, not too serious. The critical ones are something that you might want to look out for. So in that regard, Wordfence is really helpful. It kind of gives you an insight on what to look out for. Let's take a look at the actual, the firewall right here. So that was the scan. So when you scan your website, it's going to notify you of things to look out for and everything else. This right here is the firewall. So this is basically things that you might want to look out for. So if you have a lot of people trying to log in all the time, generally that would be considered something to look out for. With the Pro version, you can actually go ahead and blacklist a lot of these IPs right away. Right here, you can actually block by country. Now that is specifically for the premium version. And that actually is really helpful because let's say, for instance, you're an e-commerce website. You might want to block a lot of other countries that have no interest in your product. And if they were to buy something, you don't ship over there, that can be really annoying. Also for GDPR, the communist the communist thing they're doing over there in Europe, you might need to block some of those countries because we don't want to comply with GDPR. I don't want to comply with GDPR. I don't care what Europe says. It's like, you know what, dude, then a lot of websites like those news media outlets, they've all blocked Europe because they don't want to comply with GDPR. So they just says, okay, we're just going to block you. And if Europe continues to do this whole crazy thing over there, they're going to have a lot of problems with YouTube eventually because YouTube is in the talks of blocking them as well. But let's not get off topic here. So here they're just basically saying that you might want to upgrade to premium because this right here again is a premium feature where the firewall, it's updated every 30 days. But with the premium version, it's updated instantly. So that is something to consider. But you can just kind of get an oversight of, if someone's trying to log in on your website, that the firewall is actually there to help. You can do rate limiting, which is actually very, very, very helpful because what this is going to do is it's actually going to, we'll talk more about this actually a little bit later when we talk about all options. That's actually in the all options setting. I don't want to get all over the place here. But definitely firewall and scan are very helpful. You can see right here that they're letting us know of things to look out for. Next we have tools. So tools right here is live traffic. And we can see what they're trying to log in, damn it. So these people are all trying to hack my website. They're all trying to hack me. Right here, you can see that they are trying to log in with -wp-login. So there's quite a bit of them, Now, that actually might be people that are actually trying to log into their shop page, so not necessarily trying to hack. So if these people are hitting a rate limit, which is they're entering the wrong information all the time, we might want to throttle them. And I'll talk more about that setting in just a bit. But here you can just get an overview of where your traffic is going. What are they doing? So if they're going on pages or they're trying to access certain things that they're just not supposed to, get rid of them, block them. Here we got people from Bangladesh trying to log in. We got people from United States, Morocco, Egypt, South Korea, Bangkok, that's probably me, and then India, Frankfurt. It looks like right here we have the same user all the time. Huh? That's something to consider, but it's actually from different IPs, which is very interesting, except for these ones right here. Looks like we have 3 users, but that's just something to look out for. And also, if you want to know more about that person, you can go ahead and look up that IP. And if that person is known for having malicious attacks, then you can go ahead and ban that person. You can also go ahead and import and export these same options, etc. And then this right here is diagnostic settings. So that's just something you can go ahead and check out and look at. It looks like my site's being a little slow, but that's something you can go ahead and take a look at. Right here, we're gonna go to login security. Oh, we're gonna go to tools. I think we're on tools right now. Yeah, tools. And next we're gonna go to login security. Now this is one of the only features that Wordfence offers that other companies don't, because this is actually available in the free version. Now iThemes and other various companies offer this same feature. However, it's in the pro version. So two-way authentication. So what that means is that you'd have to get your phone and you'd have to scan the bar with your phone. Then that would be the only way to log into your website. So if you lose your phone, unfortunately, you can have the codes right here. Now I probably need to go ahead and after this video, I'm going to have to change these codes again, because once someone finds your codes, guys, they can actually log into your websites, and that would not be cool. So if you ever lose your phone, they give you backups as far as recovery codes. So various websites offer that. So if you lose like your phone, you can use the backup codes to log in. So that's just an additional way. But I find that this feature is really helpful because I don't like the fact that you only have a password, but with two-way authentication, that actually is a big layer of security. In fact, on my YouTube channel, I actually have two-way authentication. So if someone does figure out my password, after that, they then have to actually enter the key for my text messages. So that's what YouTube gives us, and that's the only layer of protection we have. So I have to use it because I don't want someone to just guess my password and they guess it. I need some more security, damn it, So two-way authentication is a huge plus as far as security goes, and this is available in the free version of Wordfence. So that is something to check out. Next, we're going to go to all options, which is the last section right here. So right here is your Wordpress license, Wordfence license, this is free. And then right here, we have some other various options. And then right here, we have some general Wordfence options. And generally, you'd probably want to go ahead and leave this checked. I would not have this checked right here because I never like auto updates. Never, 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 never. Because sometimes a plugin that isn't compatible with that other plugin can cause conflict. So don't update unless absolutely necessary. Right here, we have other various options. But these are just kind of optional, like hide WordPress version, etc. So at that point, I'm just going to leave those blank. Right here, dashboard notifications, you can go ahead and leave those. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Email preferences, you can go ahead and get notified if someone's trying to hack into your website or if there's just very suspicious behavior, which happens quite a bit. Activity reports, which is really, really cool. So they're going to go ahead and just give you a general overview of everything that's going on your website, and they'll email to you once a week, which I find is very helpful, especially with customers if they want to know, hey, is this being hacked or whatever. Here you can whitelist services, which is also another really cool feature because managed WP actually gets blocked a lot. So they actually have a specific setting for managed WP. In fact, I use managed WP in my WordPress web hosting, or my WordPress web hosting competition. So that again is really cool. Now this one right here is actually pretty important. So brute force protection. So this is probably the most important options in the actual settings right here. So this right here is basically when people start to actually try to log in on your website. So this can cause a very big cause for concern because at that point it's saying, okay, well, people are trying to log into my website. That's an issue. So right here we have lockout after how many failures. So I'm going to say, maybe after 10. After 10 tries, I don't want people to be able to log in for another 4 hours because at that point, or 6 hours, because at that point, I don't know if it's a bot or not. Now you can go ahead and say 20, which I think 20 is the default, but maybe 10, something like that, because it's up to you at that point, But then again, if it's a real person, they're going to email you saying, hey man, you locked me out of my website or my account, and you'd have to actually go ahead and let them back in the settings tab for our users right here. Right here, lock out after how many password attempts. So after they fail their password attempts, after 20 times, you're going to go ahead and lock them out of their account. So that's something that you would probably want to consider. Right here, you have enforce strong passwords. Now, this can be very annoying, but then again, it also helps people not get hacked. So you ever been to a website where it's saying your password isn't strong enough, dude? And it's so irritating, but it forces you to make a really long password, and that actually helps people from not getting hacked as much. So I would probably have that checked, as annoying as that is. Over here, you have just some other various options. Right here, rate limiting. Now, this right here is actually the same thing as brute force attack. So again, these are probably some of the more important settings, and these settings right here would probably help you from getting DDoS attacked. It would probably help you from getting DDoS attacked, and it would also help your server from not getting overloaded, because when you get DDoS attacked, unfortunately, it uses a lot of resources, and that's the actual whole point of a DDoS attack, is to exhaust your resources on your server. So your actual hosting company is going to say, hey man, something's going on your website. So let's take a look at these right here. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and block the fake Google crawlers. And this is actually beneficial from scrapers. So scrapers are basically, scrapers can be anything. They can be plugins, they can be other websites, they can be scripts. And what they're going to do is they're going to try to steal all of your content away on your website, and they're actually going to try to rank from your keywords on your blog posts and everything else, and they're going to try to rank for it on their website. So by having this option set, you can actually prevent that. In fact, there is a plugin on Envato Markets that's actually designed to actually steal content from other websites. In fact, let's go ahead and call them out. Let's take a look here. So this plugin right here, the WordPress automatic plugin, this is a scraper right here. And this is specifically designed to steal content from other websites. And the best thing to do would be to have that little checkbox checked, because that's going to actually prevent it from stealing your content. And now this plugin, I don't know, they're kind of saying it's not stealing content, but it's designed specifically to steal content. So this right here is an example of a scraper. So this right here is going to take posts from almost any other WordPress website automatically. So what you'd want to do here is you would want to have that checked, because that'll prevent those from stealing your content. So right here are some very important settings. So if anyone request exceeds 30 per minute, then block it. Now the reason why we're going to do that is because 30 requests in a minute is a lot. And generally people who are doing that are probably not humans. They're probably scripts, they're probably bots. So at that point, I'm going to say if someone's actually trying to have at least 30 requests in a minute, that probably is not a human being, and I probably want it off my website. So I'm actually going to go ahead and block it. Now right here, if a crawler's page exceeds 5 per minute, then block it, because at that point, the crawler might be malicious, the crawler might not be genuine, the crawler might be doing something that I don't know, and personally, Google actually only crawls it once or twice. So if they're doing more than 5 per minute, at that point, I would consider just to block it. Right here, if a crawler's pages not found for exceed, I would just go ahead and leave that. If a human's page views exceed 15 per minute, then throttle it. So what that means is basically saying if you have a visitor on your website and they're just going through pages to pages to pages, at that point they're not engaging on your website, and they're actually becoming problematic because they're taking too many resources on your server. So if they're just going through 15 pages, in under a minute, that's very spammy and that's very unlikely. And at that point, I would not even consider that person a human. So at that person, I'm going to throttle it. I'm going to protect myself and my resources by saying, look, man, you're going through my website way too fast. I don't know what you're looking for, what you're doing, but you're not really engaging in my website and you're not participating. It looks like you're doing something else. So at that point, I want to throttle them. And then right here, if a human's page not found for exceeds, we can just leave that as unlimited, because actually I'm not really even sure about that, because if they're hitting 404 errors all the single time, maybe you want to go ahead and throttle them. So maybe if they're hitting 10 per minute, then throttle it. Now again, that could be your problem because maybe you have broken links. So that's why I kind of want to just say unlimited, unfortunately. But if you have a website that's fully optimized and that's how it should be, then maybe you'd want to go ahead and do something like 10 per minute or something like that. Because if they're getting that many 404 errors, I don't know what they're doing on your site, and I would want to protect myself and just say, look, man, then we're going to throttle you, because I don't really know. Now, throttle means just to slow them down, just to use very little resources for that particular IP address. And then right here we have whitelisted URLs, where you can go ahead and whitelist specific URLs, because sometimes using third-party plugins and your site will actually block it, and that's very commonplace. Even your server might block it, and if you actually whitelist an IP address, it'll actually help that IP or service get through. Companies like WP Engine, I had problems with their IP address when I was actually using my best web hosting competition, so it does happen sometimes. This right here is a premium feature, which you can go ahead and block certain countries from visiting your website, and there is a lot of reasons to do that. So if you do want to purchase the pro version, that's something to consider. And then right here, let Wordfence choose to scan my website. You can go ahead and let them scan it. Right here we have different options. We have limited scan, standard scan, high sensitive. And now also keep in mind that when you use these scans, it's going to take a lot of resources on your server, so just keep that in mind. So you'd want to go ahead and scan just sometimes, guys. Don't scan every single day, because that could use a lot of resources depending on how big your website is. So just be mindful about the scans. Don't get too crazy about it. These right here are a bunch of default options, and I think that most of these are self-explanatory and are pretty good. Here we have performance options. Now, due to the fact that I don't know how many resources your server can handle, I'm just going to go ahead and skip the performance and the advanced scan. And then right here we have tool options, which are basically just importing, exporting. And then also right here, login security options are available for login options page. So you can go ahead and mess around with that if you choose to do that. Now, in general, these are just basically some options that you'd want to have checked and checked on. Wordfence, I think, is one of the optimal ways of defending your website against intruders. Their scan is actually really, really helpful. On my scan, it found it found malware, and then you can go ahead and also manage your firewall to prevent brute force attacks, and also just to make sure your visitors aren't doing anything weird, like they're not going to a bunch of 404 pages. Maybe they're looking for a specific login page. I don't know, but it's just good to have this plugin because you can kind of protect yourself from other malicious content. Also, if your site does get hacked, unfortunately, remember this plugin right here, it'll go ahead and get rid of malicious files and everything. But if there is a Trojan, or if there is a script that's actually embedded onto your site, or if someone's injected any malicious content, the plugin unfortunately can't fix that. So this right here, again, is just trying to prevent it and delete some files. But if you have fully been hacked, Wordfence actually has a service where they'll go ahead and help your website get unhacked at a small fee. I think it's like $150 or something like that, $179. And that's actually really helpful because Wordpress actually has all the data already to fix your site, and if you were to take your data to another company, they usually don't want to work with that, and they want to do their own independent audit. So I think that in conjunction with Wordfence, they can actually fix your site, which actually makes it really, really convenient. So again, hopefully this video was helpful. Wordfence is by far one of the best security plugins out there. I think that if you're running a website, I think it's a great plugin to have. Now, a year ago when I was using it, it did slow my website down, and that was because it was using too much resources at the time. But I think by now they've actually fixed that, and I think that you won't see your site get too slow when you actually run it on your website, because they have actually optimized it. Because again, a year ago, it was slowing down my website, so I will say that about this plugin. But if you don't want to use Wordfence, I will be having a small video on iThemes as well. And iThemes is an additional plugin, and I would only recommend these two plugins. I would not recommend this plugin right here because, I mean, would you really want to trust your website with tips and tricks? Like tips and tricks. That name right there is just, and look at this version of WordPress they're using. I mean, look at this version. That version over there is like super old. That is like 5 years ago. They're not even updating their page. What are they doing over there? But again, I hope this video is helpful. Again, let me know if you have any questions or if something that I missed, or if you just want to go ahead and voice your opinion about Wordfence. My name is Darrel Wilson, and I will see all of you party people later.